Good day, everyone. This is Pine Leaf News, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and at the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculata.
Hey, now everybody, how's it going?
Hello, Drac. I guess you are fervently waiting for when your home will be coming to the world of DDO.
Indeed.
Ooh. Well, let's see.
A long wait, though, I think, but
A long wait, yeah.
getting closer every day, though.
Well, let's see what this week's game news is, and no, nothing about Ravenloft here.
Unfortunately, no.
But we do have an update for the Players Council.
Yeah, over on the forums, I saw a thread that popped up. A player asked the question, will there still be a Players Council with the move over to Standing Stone Games? And Cordovan did respond to that, and he said, quote, yes, we'll be having a new Players Council, but it'll be a little different going forward. We'll have more information on it soon, including information on how to apply. But please do not send in your applications now.
Then we also have a message on the current state of things from Cordovan. And what is the current state of things?
This kind of popped up in the middle of a thread. People were kind of talking about these Reaper changes that they're going to make and the aggro changes that they made. And Cordovan jumped into this thread as well. And he said, here is the current state of things. We are still working to squash remaining issues where red named mobs are showing up as champions. While some folks like the increased unpredictability, the plan is to not have red name champs. And I thank you for that very kindly, because I went into that and it's not fun.
It's brutal.
Some people like it, but I'm not one of those people.
It should be Reaper only, yes.
Yeah, exactly, which is actually what it was intended to be, and just something happened. So yeah, so they're still working on that. They're also working on an overhaul of champions to make adjustments to what they think will be a more informative system offering unpredictability and challenge. Expect a lot more info on this in the near future. And they are also taking another look at the aggro detection to see what further changes need to be made. And finally, Cordovan says, Reaper difficulty is still something we hope to debut in Update 34.
We also have a message here saying Reaper and Champion changes coming to Lamania.
Yes, over on the Lamania forums, Cookie Kobold put a post up. Howdy, folks. We'll be bringing Lamania up between January 10th and January 12th with the updated Reaper mode and the newly adjusted champions. We'll also be doing a couple of dev events during the uptime. We'll announce more specifics as we get closer. See you there. And as we record the show, it is January 9th. I saw nothing today about Lamania coming up tomorrow, so I guess we'll see if it does come up tomorrow.
All right, and I was going to say that, well, the day this show posts is right in the middle of that window.
Yeah, it will be if they hit their target date there, so stay tuned, keep watching the forums. We'll tweet it out if we see it coming up or whatever as well, but Lamania Pass should be coming this week for a couple days.
Very well. Then let's head into some massively OP awards. And what are the winners for 2016?
Well, of course, Massively had a ton of awards, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, to where the community was voting for the most underrated MMO. And we all went and voted, and DDO actually won the community vote for that.
Okay.
But in the process of doing that, we got called out over on Massively for organizing a fan campaign to vote the game up. I read this and I was like, really, Massively OP? Really? Yes, Bree is the one over on Massively that put this post up, and she linked to the thread in the forums where everybody was, talking about how we all need to go vote because, this will get DDO's name out there, and kind of like we all said, and then they complained that we ran the votes up.
Oh, well.
Oh, massively OP. So yeah, but hey, we did it. We did get the community vote. She does say though, then again, DDO is a fairly underrated MMO, so it's really not a bad choice.
All right.
So, thanks, I guess.
Now, I like this one for their award for most likely to flop. Star Citizen and Wildstar.
Yeah, there was some interesting votes they had on. I can see Star Citizen has been like hyped so much. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Hold on. So Wildstar is given as most likely to flop, and then the next thing comes is best MMO player housing. Wildstar.
Yeah. Yeah. Massively doesn't make any sense. And Gumsking is pointing out in the chat here too that the most underrated MMO, the massively OP staff pick was Final Fantasy, which I'm not sure how underrated Final Fantasy is as an MMO, but okay, if that's what you say. You call us out, but then your staff votes Final Fantasy anyway. Anyway, there you have it.
All right, let's head out and see what is on sale for our store.
We have 35% off the shared bank storage, character bank upgrades, select storage bags, and the shared bank platinum vault, all 35% off. That is until January the 12th. And we do have our free sample of the week, and it is something fun.
Something fun?
Something fun. Use the coupon code FUNTIMES. FUNTIMES. You will get one something fun per account.
One something fun. Now, have you checked in and see what your something fun is?
I have not. I keep forgetting. Every time I'm on, I keep forgetting to get it. I have to get it because I have no idea what it is.
Oh, I'm going to have to log in right now and see.
I know. I was kind of hoping you would because I didn't get to do it. Because I knew you were going to ask me, what is something fun? And I have no idea what this is.
Well, I hope it's fun.
Yeah, well, if not, it's false advertising, don't you think?
Well, I guess you got a point with that.
I'm so hoping it's a button of winning. I'm so hoping it is.
You win Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Let's go and see what's coming in from the dungeon. And Tales of the Yawning Portal is coming for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And what's Tales of the Yawning Portal? Is this the next storyline?
It is not. Everybody thought it was going to be the next storyline because usually at this time of the year, Wizards of the Coast will announce what their next storyline for Pen and Paper 5e will be, but they kind of mix things up on us this year. You know, in the vast history of D&D, we have 43 years of history so far for Pen and Paper D&D. There are many, many modules that some players probably have not had a chance to run. For example, how many of you have ever actually braved the Tomb of Horrors? Have you climbed White Plume Mountain? Or have you fought against the giants? Those are some of the classic modules that are available in Pen and Paper, correct?
Well, let's see. I ran 2 of those 3.
And you probably died in the tomb, as you should.
No, I said I ran them. I didn't. I meant as a GM.
Oh, ran them. I thought you said you ran in them. Oh, I see. So, but what Tales of the Yawning Portal is, this will be releasing on April the 4th. You are going to be able to jump into some of the most popular D&D modules ever created, all updated to the 5th edition rule set.
Tomb of Horrors in 5th edition?
Yeah. Against the Giants, Hidden Shrine of Tomachan.
Oh, that's right, because that was the one that I actually did do that one as a player at Origins, yeah.
Tomb of Horrors, White Plume Mountain, and then I don't know if I'd call these next 3 classic modules because they're newer ones, but you can also do Dead and Thay, Forge of Fury, and the Sunless Citadel. All these updated with a couple new monsters. They said they haven't talked too much about the monsters, but it's going to be updated. And over on Forbes, actually, Forbes had an interview with Mike Merles, And he said, basically, this is going to be a collection of 7 of the most famous dungeons from D&D's history. They're all collected in one hardcover book. The idea behind this is not only do you want to capture some of the most famous dungeons from the game's history, but we also wanted to give a selection of adventures that you could, in theory, start at level 1, while the first dungeon, and then play all the way up to level 15 by playing the adventures one right after the other. We want a nice broad range of levels to give dungeon masters content that they can just drop into their campaigns currently, either to extend something, say if you finish Storm King's Thunder and your characters are level 10 or 11, then there's an adventure you can start playing right away at level 11, or if you just want something there as a sidetrack for your current campaign. So they say it's going to start at level 1 and it'll go all the way up to 13, which he did say Tomb of Horrors will be 13th and 14th level. So my party is actually going to die because I'm going to make them do Tomb of Horrors. So be prepared.
Because you were thinking of, I think, translating that in the 5th edition, and now...
Right. See, and now I don't actually have to do it. The work has been done. Thank you, Wizards. Thank you so much. So yes, this does hit retail April the 4th, just like they have done in the past, though. If your friendly local game store is a Wizard preferred store, you'll be able to pick this up on March the 24th. So right. Brand new sourcebook, 7 classic dungeons coming all updated to 5th edition.
Very well. It looks like the fun thing is an Enchanted Chocolates by Fabiano and Zelda.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? And what do the Enchanted Chocolates do?
Well, there are... I think it's a trinket that has 10 chocolates in it, and I think when you click on it, it gives you one of the 4 flavors, and I think each of them does something different. So I haven't tried any of them yet.
Wow.
So, but anyway, it is a box of chocolates.
There you go.
At least that's what I got.
We're going to say maybe it's different for everybody, but there you go. Go to the store, get your free something fun. Apparently, box of chocolates are fun.
Let's see what's on the tabletop. And I heard a rumor that Kingdom Death might have gotten $1 or $2 in its Kickstarter.
Just a few. Yeah.
Just a few.
Just a few. We can now officially say Exploding Kittens is not the most successful Kickstarter in history.
Okay.
Kingdom Death Monster 1.5 raised over $12 million. Yes, I did say 12 million to take over the top spot of the board game Kickstarter. Yeah, $12 million this game raised.
And you can get your copy in 3.5 years.
Yeah, that's what we were talking before the show. It's like, it's crazy to me because most of the tiers that you pledged on, it said the expected ship date was 2020. So I'm like, I'm going to give you money, and then I'm going to hope in 3 years you remember to ship my game to me. But apparently a lot of people did. 19,264 backers raised $12,393,139. That is insane, people. But there you go. So I want to see a board game Kickstarter do more than 12 million now. The challenge has been thrown. I'm sure something will come out, but I think it's going to be a while. I thought it was going to be a while for Exploding Kittens.
Yeah. Okay, so let's head into our week in gaming. And Drac, what were you into when you weren't making fun of Kickstarters for $1 million?
Exactly. I actually didn't do too much this week. I kind of had a crazy week and had some stuff going on, but I did jump into game a little bit. Over on Kenneth, of course, I have my Druid, which started out at level 7. That, of course, everybody probably will remember that's a Druid that once I hit level 8, I just wanted to hit 8 so I could get my Winterwolf form, and then I'm going to start doing my Warlock levels, and then I'm going to just continue with Warlock here on out to make that into a Wolflock over on Kenneth. So I was finishing up the catacombs on Elite. I finished that quest chain up. I only had 3 more quests to do, or 4 more actually, I should say. So I did setting the wards, the lower cathedral, the Patriarch's Crypt, Endgame Marguerite, and the Archbishop's Fate. Did those. When I finished that, I actually did manage to hit level 8, which
Yay!
was kind of going to be my goal and my hope, or I thought I would be at least close to it. But I actually hit level 8, so that was great. So I went and I leveled up. And then I decided, as I was getting ready to go into House Jurasco to start doing those quests, I thought, I haven't yet slotted any druid spells because I was just basically just doing melee in wolf form. But when I'm my Wolflock, I do cast some druid spells as well. So I thought I need to go into the closest tavern I can find so I can slot some spells. So I ran in and was getting my spells around and then getting ready to slot them. And I went to put lightning. And it said, cannot equip due to stats too low. I was like, what? So I tried to cast something else, or equip something else. Same message. Tried to equip something else. Same message. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, is this a bug? Is my druid bugged? What's going on? So I pulled up my character sheet, and it was me being pretty much stupid. when I created the character, I was thinking basically just Warlock. So I did not put enough points into wisdom or intelligence.
Well, that was the appropriate thing to do with low wisdom and intelligence.
Yeah. So I'm like, dope. Yeah. So then I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to start over here? Because, I'm only level 8. So it's like, it wouldn't be that deal if I just delete it and start over. But then I remembered I had a Heart of Wood. Because, when you create a character, you get a Heart of Wood to where you can do a TR. The TR to where you can just like change your points or whatever. It's basically for when you screw up like this, like I did. So I did that. So I TR'd my druid into another druid, and I fixed that. So now I can actually cast druid spells. And I tested that out by going into the Grave Robber in House Tarasco. And yes, I can actually cast spells now. So I'm excited. So we'll see. But yeah, I was thinking all Warlock, so I was putting everything in my charisma. That was like my main stat. I was really putting stuff in. I mean, I had some stuff in wisdom, but I was thinking, I don't really need that because basically Warlock, I just really need charisma because that's, for a Warlock, you want the highest charisma you can get. So yeah, and then I realized, I'm a druid too. I need some of that. So yeah. So, yeah, I epic failed that. But that's fixed now. And then the only other thing in game I did was with you, and I will let you talk about our exciting adventures in the Giant Hold. I did do some prep for my D&D 5e campaign, the one I'm running with my friend and his kids, for Storm King's Thunder. I have a lot of prep to do, because in the section of Storm Kings that they're in, it is basically all just a big giant sandbox, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. And they have all those quests that they picked up they're going to do, so they're going to visit many, many locations. They're going to be in the wilderness a lot, so I have to make sure I have, random encounters ready to go, and I had to roll for all the items that they can pull in certain spots. So just a lot of boring DM prep work, because this is the first time I've ever actually ran anything that is like this open sandbox before, because this section of Storm Kings, you can do whatever your players want to do. They basically have a whole giant map to just explore. And then at a certain point, something is going to happen, and then that's going to kick off the next part of the main story. So it's kind of nice in a way because it gives them freedom, but as a dungeon master, it's like a nightmare because I have to be ready for pretty much anything.
Don't you have to be ready for anything as a dungeon master anyway?
Oh, that's very true, but I think this more so because I tend to, I don't want to say I try to keep them on rails, but I try to keep them steered towards what they need to do. And that's the problem with this section. There's really nothing that they need to do. There's just one certain place I have to get them whenever I feel it's ready to progress, and then that is what's going to kick off the next part of the storyline. So I like how they have written that, because it does leave you with just like this whole sandbox to play with, because you basically have all of the north. You can just run around, and they can choose to go to Icewind Dale if they want. They can go to Waterdeep. They can go to Neverwinter. They have all sorts of choices, but then I have to plan all the stuff that's going to happen, because it's all up to the Dungeon Master. So fun times with that. And then I did play Warlock of Firetop Mountain again, getting ready to do my review for that. But the main reason why I wanted to play that again is, as I was playing it last week, I realized there was an option to where you could use a controller for it. So I thought I should hook up my Xbox 360 controller and see how well it plays with a controller. So I did that, and I have to say I like it much better with a controller versus mouse and keyboard. It's not like you're doing any action really, because you're basically just clicking on choices. It's because it is like a choose your own adventure. You get to a point that says, do you want to go east or you want to go west? But instead of having to take your mouse over to like west and click, I can just hit one button and I go that way. So I kind of liked it better with the controller. I guess it's your personal choice. But anyway, the moral of the story is look for the Warlock of Firetop Mountain review, probably sometimes this week over on DDO Players. I just have to get down and write it. I have a bunch of screenshots and such like that. So I'm ready to do the review, I think. I played it about 5.5 hours, something like that. So I got a pretty good feel for it, I think.
Okay, my question is, did the Warlock of Firetop Mountain have too many points in charisma?
Well played, Five. And then I did get lost in the abyss that is known as Elder Scrolls Online somewhere.
Okay.
may have that a lot over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, possibly.
Maybe.
I'm not going to admit to it, but maybe, possibly. If we're friends on Steam, you can probably look at my playtime and see how much I played this weekend. But anyway, so what did you do, Pine Leaf, and what did we do in the Giant Hold?
All right, we'll begin with the Giant Hold, where our gnomes at level 15. First off, we were going into Foundation of Discord, and when we're going in on our way to going there, we discovered that there's a very important piece of advice. Remember to turn on the fire resistance before you jump into the lava.
Yeah. Quirky in the chat room will be happy to know that, yes, I died in the lava because, I'm so used to just like running through that lava, because if you run and you jump, you normally don't die. It's no big deal. But as soon as I jumped in there, I saw my health just like go bam, and I was dead. And I'm like, what the heck? And then I remembered, oh, hey, I'm wearing a different cloak now, so I don't have any fire resistance.
Oops.
Yeah, so fire resistance if you run through lava is good. I'm so glad we were not on Twitch at the time, because that would have been pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. Very well, then then we ran Foundation of Discord, A Cry for Help, and then the Prison of the Plains to finish up our time in Giant Hold. Then I went on to my Monk, the one that's level 2 and going through the harbor, and then I ran a bunch of Harbor Quest: Home, Sweet Seward, Millerstedt, Arachnophobia. And in Arachnophobia, when I went in there and took a little step into the second area, and then all the spiders in both wings that are not behind some sort of barrier just came all rushing out at once. So that was 10 spiders coming out, trickling in as I'm fighting them. And it's like, boop, 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 boop. Boy, that was a real fun battle to get through. Then I ran Information is Key, and there I learned the reasons to carry Shuriken, and that is for the oozes. Because I would presume that my hands would really get hurt if I went around hitting on oozes with just hand wraps on me.
It probably would not work out well for you now.
Yes. Then I ran the Smuggler's Warehouse, protect body's interests. And that's where I earned level 3. Then stopped Hasadil's shipment, which is when I actually, after that, that's when I took level 3. And then retrieved the stolen goods in order to finish up that mini section.
So how you liking the monk so far then?
Well, I always like having a little bit of ranged. And of course.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say, because you're usually not a melee type person. So.
Yeah, that's sort of the biggest thing on it. So if you're wondering why I made only one major goal for this year, there are 2 reasons on them. One of them has to do with the fact that the monk, in addition to, of course, being second life, it's a lot slower on this, is that the monk is a class being so strongly melee that, yeah, it's going to take a little while to get it done with that character. And I still haven't quite gotten down of using all those moves in order to build up the finishing move and all that stuff. I keep on forgetting to use them, and by the time I get up a finishing move all ready to go, and everybody's dead.
You're like, I'm going to do something. No, I'm not.
No, I'm not. All right. So let's head on to the tabletop. Now, on the tabletop, I also had a goal for this year, which I didn't mention in last week's show, but this is another reason I didn't make any wild DDO goals, and that is because I'm going to see what percentage of days in this year I will be able to play at least one tabletop game.
Well, 9 days in, you're doing really good on that, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so therefore, that's why I have all these tabletop games that you're about to list here, is because these are the ones I was doing for each of the various days. Start out with Arkham Horror, the card game, where I ran the final scenario that's in the core campaign. And, well, let's just say I started going a little bit insane during that time, which is not all that unusual in Arkham Horror. And after I did that, I decided that let's see this character that I have built up, and that's a little bit on the deep end now. And what would happen if I go to New Orleans and go against the Rugmaru? And that's how I discovered just exactly how crippled my character was after that campaign there, because I was just squashed into the ground and basically driven quickly insane because I was halfway to insanity anyway when I went down there, so that just finished the job. So that finishes that character. Sometime maybe in February, I'll probably start another character and see how well I can do on that one. Then in One Deck Dungeon, I decided to try playing the Archer, which I haven't played before, and I got to the dragon, and the dragon had Archer for dinner. Then I finally got around to playing Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle for year 4. So I played game 4, and that went pretty well. I managed to really kick Voldemort's allies in the shins, but next game things are going to start to get tougher, because next game is when Voldemort arrives, and I'm sure he's not going to make things easy. Then I brought out Warfighter World War II, and the scenario that I chose this time was some tank hunting. And this is pretty tough because I was starting to get the enemies closing in on me, and I decided, all right, I better rush in, go after this tank and blow it up. Shot it with my bazooka, and I must have hit the thickest armor of the tank because nothing happened. Shook up the crew a little bit, but that's it for that. And I threw a satchel charge on there, right? Oh, yeah, also on the thickest part of the armor, apparently, because that did nothing. And now I had absolutely no weapons left that could possibly put a dent into a tank. And I was wondering, okay, what am I going to do? I got enemies rushing in on me. So on my leader, I decided to just try cycle cards, see if there's a card in the entire game that I could possibly draw that might save me. And right, the last card I drew was Scrounge, which allows me to say, oh, I suddenly found a little extra ammo. In this case, the ammo was another bazooka rocket, which I put down right into the weakest part of the armor thing and blew the tank up right at the last second.
Oh, nice.
But I couldn't believe because I was just so sure that was going to be a complete loss in there. But I found an extra rocket right at the end and managed to pull off the victory. Then I brought out Tiny Epic Kingdoms, and this is I decided to run a solo game with the dwarves facing against the undead, and this is the second time I've played the solo game on Tiny Epic Kingdoms, and I could say that the solo game kicks you in the teeth. I was just completely outclassed in that. So hopefully someday I'll be able to get good enough in the game that I can actually, at least come close. Then today, I've received in the mail my copy of the custom deck that was created for Dungeon Solitaire. So I decided to give that one a whirl. So I ran the basic and expert levels of that game. So that was 3 games in all. I died in one very quickly, which is why I played twice on the expert level. And I managed to get out of the dungeon alive. One of them barely out of the dungeon alive, but not enough in which to achieve victory. But at least I got out alive. And when you're trying to get out of a dungeon for Dungeon Solitaire, believe me, that's half of winning. So therefore, I need to try out the advanced one and see how that does. So I'll probably be reporting on that next time. But what I gotta say about this deck, it's not the favorite artwork that I have in there, but it does have one nice feature, and that is I like the size of the deck, because this is an enhanced tarot deck, but rather than having the tarot size that's very, very long, that's impossible for me to shuffle, this has the poker size for its cards.
Okay, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, so the deck is a little bit thicker, but I am able to shuffle it well, and I think that makes it worthwhile. And it also, of course, has the extra cards, which you won't find in most tarot decks. So we'll see how that goes. And that concludes my games for this week. Yeah, so far I'm doing it, but I want to see what my percentage score is at the end of the year on what percentage of days I actually managed to achieve getting a game out onto the table and playing it. And a big thank you to Onishi, who is our top supporter on Patreon. And we currently have 22 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, you could go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. And we don't have any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, DDO Players @DDO Players, Draculetta @Draculetta_72, and Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. Every Thursday at 9 p.m.-ish U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Players News. And on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Locho Academy After School. You can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is it for tonight. This is Pineleaf Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.